Would the veterans in the audience please stand? Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in a round of applause for these veterans who have kept our country free in times of peace and conflict. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, honored veterans, and members of the proud infantry family, today we stand together to honor a remarkable milestone, 250 years of courage, sacrifice, and unwavering dedication by the United States Army Infantry. As we gather to celebrate this extraordinary anniversary, we reflect on the heritage of a force that has not only shaped the history of our nation, but has also preserved its freedom, one battlefield at a time. From its inception on June 14th, 1775, the infantry has stood as the backbone of our army. Whether storming the beaches of Normandy, trudging through the frozen mountains of Korea, or braving the deserts of the Middle East, infantry soldiers have borne the brunt of battle with valor and resilience. They have secured the victories that carved our republic, reunited a divided union, and defended democracy around the globe. To the next generation of infantry soldiers, we look to you to carry forward this proud legacy. You embody the Army's core values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. The challenges of the 21st century demand not only physical strength, but also the intellect and adaptability to navigate cyber threats, complex geopolitics, and modern battlefields. The purpose of today's ceremony is to recognize the commitment of the soldiers in formation today who have chosen to serve their country as infantry soldiers. This review is the last official formation of the training cycle. Not everyone successfully completes this difficult period of training, but those in formation today represent disciplined, motivated, and physically fit soldiers who exemplify the Army's 7 core values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Ladies and gentlemen, during the next few moments, there will be loud noises and smoke from the use of pyrotechnics. In just a few moments, out from the past will emerge our country's next greatest generation, today's infantry warrior. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Infantry Rifle Squad, the foundation of the Army's decisive force and the embodiment of the warrior ethos. Infantry soldiers have the most challenging job of any member of the armed forces. They carry the fight to the enemy around the world. They're the standard bearer for all the armies of the world, leading by example in the fight to defend freedom against ruthless terror. With the increased firepower and lethality of today's weapons, every infantry soldier must be trained as standard in over 200 tasks to defeat our enemies on any battlefield. The infantry soldiers graduating today are accomplished marksmen, able to engage the enemy day and night. They understand how to shoot, move, and communicate as a team. They are adaptable warriors who can fight as a mechanized force from Strykers or Bradleys, from the sky as airborne or air assault, and whose training is the basis of our elite special operations warrior. Most importantly, they are patriots who raise their right hand and swore an oath to God and country to defend the Constitution of the United States against any enemy. Ladies and gentlemen, the Infantry Rifle Squad. Flying ahead of the Infantry Squad is the RQ-28 Alpha, cutting-edge, small, unmanned aerial system that gives our soldiers an eye in the sky. The RQ-28 Alpha. The infantry soldiers can detect threats before engaging the enemy, turning the tide of battle with real-time intel and precision reconnaissance. The squad is led by a staff sergeant. They are armed with an M7 rifle. The M7 rifle is the latest evolution of service rifle, utilizing the improved ambidextrous controls and the 6.8 by 5.1 Fury cartridge that is designed to defeat the latest in adversary body armor. The squad has 2 fire teams. Each fire team is led by a sergeant. They are also armed with an M7 rifle. This rifle is fully modular with an integrated receiver rail system that can mount the M157 fire control optic infrared laser designator used to engage targets at night. Each fire team has 1 automatic rifleman. They are armed with an M250 squad automatic weapon. This system replaces legacy systems, providing improved firepower with a sustained rate of fire of over 600 rounds per minute and weighing 6 pounds lighter than the previous weapon system, the M249 squad automatic weapon. Each fire team has 1 grenadier. They are armed with an M7 rifle and an M320 grenade launcher. It fires a variety of 40mm grenades to include high explosive, illumination, colored smoke, and buckshot. The M320 provides an invaluable indirect fire capability to the infantry squad. The remaining soldier in each fire team is the rifleman. They are also armed with an M7 rifle. Additionally, each one of these soldiers is wearing the integrated head protection system with the ANPSQ-42 enhanced night vision binocular device. This night vision device allows the soldier to see in low or no light conditions. Coupled with the laser designator on their weapon system, they can effectively place fire on all targets at night. On their torso, they are wearing the 2nd generation modular scalable vest, MSV, which consists of 4 armored plates capable of stopping small arms fire and fragmentation. Additionally, he is wearing ballistic eye protection, knee and elbow pads, and a water hydration system. Ladies and gentlemen, all members of today's Infantry Rifle Squad are from Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment. This is the modern-day warrior, armed and equipped to fight and win anywhere, anytime, and any type of terrain against any enemy. These infantry soldiers are trained and ready to defend our country and preserve our way of life. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in a round of applause for the United States Army Infantry Rifle Squad. Ladies and gentlemen, now marching onto the parade field are the infantry soldiers from Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment. The company commander is Captain Dominic Bellocchio, and the company first sergeant is First Sergeant Casey Conrad. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the arrival of the official party. Chaplain Luke Allen, the 2nd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment Chaplain, will offer the invocation.
Let us pray. Father in heaven, the Alpha and Omega, the creator and sustainer of all things, thank you for this day you have given us, and I welcome your presence as we celebrate Charlie Company's graduation. As these men stand united for the final time, I am reminded of your promise that if you begin a good work in someone, you will see it through to completion. I ask that the endurance and character that has been produced over the past 18 weeks will serve as a solid foundation for these men, no matter the storm or challenges they may face. I pray that they will be strong and courageous, always looking to you as a steady hand and a guide. Thank you again for the drill sergeants and cadre who have worked tirelessly to produce these infantrymen. Grant them much needed rest and time with their families over the upcoming days. Empower them with your strength and wisdom to continue the vital mission of training soldiers and forging men of character. I ask that everything done today will bring you glory. It is in your holy name that I pray. Amen.
The official party for today's ceremony consists of the 2nd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment Commander, Lieutenant Colonel James Van Zandt, and the Battalion Command Sergeant Major Juan Franco.
Sir, the company is formed.
Conduct the ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Order! Persons to be honored and colored. Yes, sir. March! Sir, persons being honored and colors are present. Present. On. Detachment. Present. On.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the national anthem. Gentlemen, if you are not in uniform, please remove your headgear. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Detachment. Order. On.
The infantry soldiers graduating today come from many parts of the United States. The flags of the 50 states and 6 territories displayed at the museum symbolize the broad base of our national defense. The company standing before you today has conducted a turning blue ceremony on Honor Hill because blue is the color of the infantry. This ceremony culminated with each graduating soldier receiving the coveted symbols of an infantry soldier: the crossed rifle insignia with blue background discs and the blue infantry cords. Turning blue signifies the rite of passage of these soldiers to carry on the finest traditions of the infantry. The infantry crossed rifles, blue discs, and blue cords mark these soldiers as qualified to be the finest soldiers in the world. United States Army infantry soldiers. The soldiers most responsible for the training of these infantry soldiers are the drill sergeants, who are carefully selected by the Department of the Army. The drill sergeant campaign hat and badge have been a stoic symbol of professionalism and pride since 1962. At this time, the drill sergeant of the cycle for Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment, Drill Sergeant Kalen Tanner, will recite the Drill Sergeant's Creed.
The drill sergeant creed. I am a drill sergeant. I will assist each individual in their efforts to become a highly motivated, well-disciplined, physically and mentally fit soldier, capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. I will instill pride in all I dream, pride in self, in the Army, and in country. I will insist each soldier meets and maintains the Army standards of military bearing and courtesy consistent with the highest traditions of the U.S. Army. I will lead by example, never requiring a soldier to attempt any task I will not do myself, but first, last, and always, I, an American soldier, sworn to defend the Constitution against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I am a drill sergeant. This will defend.
At this time, the official party will present the awards. The drill sergeant of the cycle will receive an Army Commendation Medal, and the soldier of the cycle will receive the Army Achievement Medal. Receiving the Drill Sergeant of the Cycle Award from Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment, is Drill Sergeant Kalen Tanner from Scott, Louisiana. The Drill Sergeant of the Cycle will be receiving the Alwyn Cash Award, named after Medal of Honor recipient Sergeant First Class Alwyn Cash, who was killed in action in 2005 while deployed as a member of Alpha Company, 1st Battalion, 15th Infantry Regiment, 3rd Infantry Division in Saladin Province, Iraq. Sergeant First Class Alwyn Cash served on Fort Benning as a drill sergeant, as an example of selfless service that embodies the drill sergeant you see before you today. The soldier of the cycle for Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment is Private Maxwell Broccoli from Syracuse, New York. Private Broccoli's follow-on assignment is the Ranger Assessment and Selection Program. The soldier of the cycle is receiving the Joe Hooper Award. Sergeant Joe Hooper was awarded the Medal of Honor while deployed to Vietnam as a member of Delta Company, 2nd Battalion, 501st Parachute Infantry Regiment, 101st Airborne Division. Sergeant Joe Hooper rallied several men during an assault on an enemy fortified position and, with utter disregard for his own safety, overran and destroyed several enemy bunkers, inspiring the rest of his company to continue assaulting forward. Sergeant Joe Hooper is an example of personal courage that has been demonstrated by the distinguished honor graduate standing before you today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in giving these fine soldiers a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of 2nd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel James Van Sant.
Good morning to the cadre, the proud families, and distinguished guests. Thank you for attending this ceremony to celebrate these new infantrymen on this chilly Fort Benning morning. Before I begin, I would like to recognize a few special folks who are with us today. First, to the MCO Band, you add energy and pomp to this ceremony, and we're thrilled to have you help us celebrate. Thank you. To the distinguished members of the 47th Infantry Regiment, Colonel Retired Feeger, Command Sergeant, I'm sorry, I am freezing this morning, so I'm a little, more nervous than usual, Command Sergeant Major Retired Pruitt. Thank you for your continued support and the legacy that you left for all of us. Thank you. To Command Sergeant Major Retired Dotson and the National Infantry Museum staff, thank you for hosting us at this incredible facility. And then finally, to some ladies who don't want to be recognized, and I will screw up some names, but to Miss Cruz, to Miss Grimes, to Miss Conrad, to Miss Howard, to Miss Pulowski, and other spouses and children of our drill sergeants, thank you. Yes, please. Thank you for sharing your husbands, your fathers with us, and we're grateful to have NCOs like them who are willing to prepare infantrymen for the rigors of combat. While I acknowledge the sacrifice that you make in sharing them with us, please know that these infantrymen standing here on the field are better prepared for having had your husbands as drill sergeants. To the drill sergeants, you've trained these soldiers over the last 18 weeks. Thank you. You've put in long hours at the PT track, in the field, and on the range. You've molded them, you've hardened them, you've taught them, you've coached them. They will forever be your soldiers. They will always remember you. They will seek to emulate you. They will always hear your voice in their head, pushing them to drive further and faster. The work you've done has been transformational in their lives. It's important for the Army, and it's vital to our nation. Thank you. Next, to the families and loved ones in the stands, thank you for trusting us with your sons, your husbands, and your brothers. The soldier that you get back today is a changed man. He probably stands a little straighter, his head a little higher, a little more self-disciplined. If he was skinny, he's probably put on some muscle. If he was a little heavy, he's probably slimmed down. Were we hard on them? Yes, you betcha, because combat is hard. But we were only hard on them to make them better soldiers and make them better infantrymen. To the family members and mentors that are here in uniform or who previously wore the uniform, thank you for instilling the values of duty and selfless service in your soldier. Thank you for setting an example and leaving a legacy for him to follow. And then finally, to the new infantrymen on this field, enjoy this moment. This is not the end of your journey, but it's simply the end of the first phase. 18 weeks ago, you started with the first 100 yards. You've earned the soldier's patch, the crossed rifles at Honor Hill, and the coveted infantry blue cord yesterday. Now you will be expected to carry yourself and perform at a higher level. You will be expected to embody the ideals that you recite in the soldier's creed, the infantryman's creed, and the ranger creed. Drawing from those creeds, I'd like to point out a couple of lines. The first line, I will do my share of the task and then some. Gentlemen, take note from your drill sergeants for doing their share of the task and then some. At a recent brigade PT competition, Drill Sergeant Tanner, our drill sergeant of the cycle, readily volunteered to carry additional sandbags during a run so that other cadre could have a break. He was not told to do this. He was not asked to do this. He took the initiative. He said, I will do my share of the task and then some. Likewise, Staff Sergeant Cabrera, our senior drill sergeant for 2nd Platoon out there, he was recently on pass, supposed to be spending some well-deserved time with his family. But some junior drill sergeants had upcoming training events, and so he took the time to answer phone calls and answer emails while he was supposed to be at home with his family. I'm sure his wife wanted to strangle him, but he took the time to do his share of the task and then some to make sure that the training event didn't fail. Sergeant Cabrera, next time, please enjoy your time off with your family. And then lastly, Sergeant Howard, who led the HUA squad a few minutes ago, he recently finished his CQ shift. And if you're familiar with the military, that's where you're on duty for 24 hours. You haven't slept in about 36, and you're supposed to have a day off to go home and spend time with your family. The problem was that was the last day of their field exercise and their march back into Honor Hill, where the soldiers would receive their crossed rifles. Sergeant Howard, instead of being at home and sleeping after 36 hours, came back out to the field to do the long march back, because he wanted to finish with his soldiers and support his cadre members. Nobody told him to do it. Nobody asked him to do it. He wanted to do his share of the task and then some. Folks, as infantrymen, you are expected to embody that, to do your share of the task and then some. Other soldiers of different MOSs will look to the infantrymen to uphold the discipline and standards expected of all of us. If you can't handle this responsibility, I suggest you find another line of work. But if you'll relish this requirement, welcome to the Brotherhood of the Infantry. No matter why you join the Army or what your plans are in life, that is what will be expected of you, to do your share of the task and then some. In closing, We have all seen the news, and we're aware of the conflict in Iran and around other places of the world where infantrymen may be deployed in combat. You must stand ready to deploy, fight, and win, as you say in the Soldier's Creed. Don't wait until the call comes to get yourself ready. Instead, you must keep yourself ready, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And in that moment, the nation will need you to be ready and willing to do your share of the task, and then some. You have taken the first step in answering this call, and I charge you all to be ready for the moment to do your share of the task, and then some when it's needed. Panthers never quit, forever forward. I am the infantry. Follow me.
Detachment, halt! March!
Ladies and gentlemen, the Soldier's Creed is the standard for all soldiers to live by. The Soldier's Creed helps soldiers understand that despite their very diverse backgrounds, all soldiers are warriors and members of a team. We invite all soldiers, both past and present, to stand and join us as the Soldier of the Cycle from Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment, Private Maxwell Broccoli, leads the Army's newest soldiers in the Soldier's Creed.
The Soldier's Creed! I'm their soldier. I'm a warrior of their team. I serve the United States and the North Carolina. I will hold the nation this first. I will never set a beat. I will never quit. I will never leave you all comrade. I am disciplined, physically, mentally, trained, positional, warrior, test drill. I always maintain my heart, my equipment, and myself. I'm an expert, and I'm professional. I stand ready to Lord, engage, and strong. Panther, sir! Never quit. Sir, the infantry soldiers from Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment are fully trained and prepared to take their places in infantry units around the world. Conduct pass and review. Pass and review. Right. Station.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the soldiers pass to your front, we invite you to take pictures, but please remain in your seats. When the American flag passes to your front, we ask that you rise and that the gentlemen remove their headgear. Once the American flag has passed your location, you may be seated. Additionally, we ask that you please remain in the stands until the soldiers have completely left the field in conclusion of the ceremony. Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment is commanded by Captain Dominic Bellocchio from Wheaton, Illinois. The Senior Drill Sergeant for 1st Platoon is Senior Drill Sergeant Dustin Gomez from Weslaco, Texas. The Senior Drill Sergeant for 2nd Platoon is Senior Drill Sergeant Vladimir Cabrera from Guam. Color Sergeant is Drill Sergeant James Anderson from Washington, D.C. The Senior Drill Sergeant for 3rd Platoon is Senior Drill Sergeant Bradley Grimes from Easley, South Carolina. The Senior Drill Sergeant for 4th Platoon is Senior Drill Sergeant Juan Cruz from North Pole, Alaska. The First Sergeant for Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment is First Sergeant Casey Conrad from LaGrange, Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Army Song. Ladies and gentlemen, your soldiers will now be required to change into civilian attire. We request all family members and loved ones, please make your way to the front of the museum and refrain from stepping on the grass. Your soldiers will be marched to your care there. Please also ensure they are back at 8 p.m. And finally, on behalf of the 197th Infantry Brigade Commander, Colonel Christopher Hallows, and the Brigade Command Sergeant Major Blake Sims, we thank you for attending today's graduation ceremony and in joining us in continuing our proud legacy. Have a safe journey home, forever forward, and follow me.